Go. Check. Go. Step 1. 12.
Welcome back to the Something's Wrong Here podcast. I am Randy.
I'm Ken-Zee.
And today we're going to talk about what is wrong with tattoos. And in the studio, we've got Brian with us.
What's going on?
How you doing, Brian?
Good, good.
So we're going to talk about some tattoos today. It looks like you got some.
A lot, about 58 hours worth.
58 hours worth?
After
But who's counting?
After a while you stop counting how many and you count how many hours.
Yeah. I would say you've got to have more than 58 hours.
No, I still got some blank spots.
Okay.
My feet aren't done, backs of my thighs. I still got a little real estate.
Yeah, I'm sitting at probably 150 hours, I'd say. Yeah. And all those hours, unfortunately, equate to dollars.
Ooh, oh, yeah.
Time's money.
Time is money.
Us tattooers like hearing that, though.
Right?
Yeah.
So what's wrong with tattoos?
Well, let's back up a step here, Brian, Randy.
There we
Different
go.
people here. Let's back it up a step. Why are you here to talk to us about tattoos? Give us your background for the 3-minute rundown.
Oh, man. Well, I started tattooing back in 2000. So last December marked 25 years for me. And I kind of semi-retired. My body needed a little bit of a break. But I never really looked into it as a dream. I wanted to be an artist, but I didn't know which paintbrush to use. Tattooing just kind of happened. I started drawing a lot of tattoos for people around Kansas City, and all those friends would take those pictures to tattoo artists and get their work done. And I thought, oh man, all these tattooers are going to be so mad at me and so irritated because they could draw it themselves. But I kind of got a different reaction. Anytime I was out in public, I'd run into tattooers and they were like, oh man, you pretty much got it. Like, you just need to do an apprenticeship and you probably make a good tattoo artist. And I felt like it was the best outlet for me. So, first couple tattoos, I knew I would do it for a really long time.
So you've been doing it for 25 years. What has changed the most from when you started to what tattooing is doing now?
Well, from the beginning, like in the 2000 when I started, we did a lot of cover-ups from 90s tattoos, really.
The tramp stamps and the tribals.
Which was mostly inspired by just a few superstars. You had like Dennis Rodman, and Fajitas from Chili Peppers. You didn't see a lot of it. There was just a few people that really brought it to the forefront, but it was pretty taboo at the same time. So the biggest dynamic changes I saw was the internet boom and then television, Miami Ink, and stuff like that, and Kat Von D. And it became like more of a living room discussed thing around the dinner table and wasn't this kind of cliche truck stop biker, it was like this thing that everybody.
Yeah, it was either you were a sailor or a criminal.
Exactly. Or, a biker or something like that. So once it got brought to the living room, it changed it dynamically. That was the biggest change.
So it became a little more socially acceptable, and everybody was lining up to get them.
Yeah.
When did you, prior to the change of that internet boom, or I guess let me rephrase this, how much has tech changed tattoos as well, and not just in media, but in the actual like equipment industry? Because I know that you've been rocking like a wireless handheld gun.
Big time.
No, that wasn't heard of back in the day.
Oh, no, not at all. My first few years going in, the apprenticeships were very different. We made needles by hand, meaning we had to solder them and all kinds of things. There was no pre-made, there's no companies kicking out pre-mades or disposables. Like, none of that was even in existence at all. So technology definitely changed the game quite a bit. That upped it big time.
I noticed from when I started to now, a lot of the artists switched to the air compressors over the electric. Because a lot of my artists, they built their own guns and
we call them tattoo machines.
Machines are right. They're not guns. The tattoo machines, and they would modify them here and there. Sometimes in between clients, they would modify them a little bit. But then I noticed a lot of them were going to the air compressors. What was the difference between electric and air compressor?
Well, I saw that quite a bit in Pittsburgh. I moved there for about 4.5, 5 years. And I worked at a shop, and the owner was real into the air-powered machines and stuff. So I never messed with it a lot, but I did watch him work with it. And I thought that it wasn't the thing for me. And that's the thing about once you start involving art as a trade in it, people are going to choose the thing that works best for them to get an outcome. You know what I mean? There's 1,000 ways to do one thing. So it's all about what's comfortable to the artist. I didn't like a loud air compressor, felt like airbrushing it. It was more annoying than anything. And really that's not where the industry was headed, because the whole initial idea is to get people more comfortable. And the electric machines were already loud, the coils. So really that was going against where the industry was headed. Now it's like silent wireless machines, and an air compressor was the wrong direction. Technically, the tattoos were turning out fine, but the anxiety of a loud air compressor, and then you got shop logistics where he ran his through a hose down into the basement. And it was ridiculous to me.
I had one that ran one out of he had like a little, it was like a tree house he'd built up on a second floor that was like an empty attic kind of, and ran up in another room to try to make it a little quieter, up through the attic, down through the ceiling. And it didn't seem conventional. It didn't seem like it was beneficial. It was still noisy.
Right. And at the end of the day, the tattoo's the same. A rose is a rose is a rose. You know what I mean? You're really still trying to get to the final thing. And I don't know if that's the best road. You know what I mean?
One of the things that I've noticed that has changed the most is the ink, the quality, the color, is it the ink that's getting these bright colors and staying longer, or is it the method of getting it into the skin?
It's a combination of things. The pigments have almost always been relatively the same, meaning the element, the mineral that the color comes from. Yeah. But in a chemistry sense, that's gotten better. Because then there was a time where these products weren't made by tattooers or seasoned tattooers. They're just made by people, you know, but now it's like there was a moment where the artists took over the market pretty much. So they started making better. Tattooers know what tattooers want, right? So it's that, and the delivery system, the needles got better and all kinds of things like that. So it's a combination.
When you started, were you guys just using like one needle at a time in the machines? Because I know now most tattoo artists, they're stacking up 5 to 10 needles at a time.
Oh, you're talking about the needle groupings.
Yeah, the groupings.
It's rarely you hear people say things like single needle. That's really only something that happens, in prison or something like that. Because a single needle would do a line that's as thin as an eyelash, so it's not really practical. When I started tattooing, the liners that I used were either a 5 or a 7, so you have 5 needles or 7.
Okay.
Grouped in there. So it's a rarity. You definitely have way more fine line tattooers now, so they call it. And they get down to using 3 liners, but it's a rarity they're using something with a single needle in it. It's going to be really hard to not get a shaky line in there. So, So now the needle groupings have gotten a little crazy. People are rocking 120.
Oh yeah, I've seen them. They look like a giant paintbrush when they're trying to shade some big areas.
Well, you just said 2 of my favorite words: people and crazy.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about people and crazy, and what's wrong with tattoos in the sense of like culture, and what the fuck is going on. I remember. So I grew up in a household where, my dad was a cop, my mom worked for the court system, and I was told, you can get tattoos, because my oldest brother got one. So it was like the door burst open kind of thing, and it was at that point has to be coverable by a t-shirt. Moved out. Now I have, forearm, but
that's how mine started.
Yeah. It's like, I stuck to that rule for a hot minute, and then it seemed like, culture shifted, and all of a sudden tattoos, like it's not like it's a drug test, it's not anything like that. And all of a sudden that becomes one of those, okay, what happened with culture? What happened with society?
Well, in a way, I don't think culture has shifted as much as it should, probably, but we are still looking at the cover it with a t-shirt. All right. You have these younger people who are coming out looking like an Etch-a-Sketch, a class desk, just with awful artwork all over their face, none of it making sense, a lot of it offensive, and then wondering, why can't I get a job? You know, I found out, and I know this, it doesn't work for everybody, but for myself, I had this covered with a sleeve, found the job I knew that I wanted for a long time, found the job that I knew would accept me with tattoos without any questions asked, and then I went and got that full sleeve and got the other tattoos that were visible. Do jobs have the right to reject people because of their tattoos?
I think in so many words. I mean, they may not state it, but I mean, a job can refuse you for all kinds of things. And I had a friend a while back that was that's an attorney, and he shifted his practice over into like discrimination and stuff like that. And just in, bar talk, I asked him about that. And no, I mean, you can really refuse anything that is not the mission statement or vision or, or brand of your company. So I don't know that that's necessarily the thing now. Culture shifted big time, but like you said, not enough. I think when you guys mentioned the topic to me, what's wrong with tattoos, I thought about two different things. I chewed on it for a little while, and I thought, well, there's things culturally and with the aesthetic of tattoos that I don't know who would deem them wrong, but yeah, you can see some negative sides. And then there's also what's wrong with people. And what people think about tattoos. So you got two kind of different things going on when you say what's wrong with tattoos, because inherently nothing, it's just like a gun doesn't shoot people pick one up and shoot people. So and an object that's laying there is not really doing anything, just like there's not I've been reading about drugs are just drugs. There's not good ones or bad ones. It's how people abuse them or use them. You take Advil, you're taking drugs, right? So
caffeine,
all of it's drugs. It's altering. So it's not a matter of good or bad. They just are what they are.
See, I think there's a generational thing that flies in really quickly with what you said too, because I think there's a certain age range where it's an abrupt cliff where people do stop caring at a certain age range that falls off of, do I care? No. Let you be you. I'm not going to tattoo my forehead,
but
you
caring. Are you talking about the employer, or are you talking about the person getting
just
the tattoos?
Generic is generational. So like if you're trying to apply for a job and you're getting hired by a 62-year-old guy that's on his way out and you have tattoos, you do probably have a lesser chance potentially, especially depending on that guy's background, his beliefs, etc. Right. But again, I think there's a generational shift and definite drop. And I think one of the other things that like culture shock kind of got kicked, and this is when most recently, and I don't want to go down a political road, but tattoos got brought into politics. Our Secretary of Defense has tattoos and people want to call him out. It's like, okay, guy from the right has tattoos, I can find someone from the left with tattoos. Let's take away the politics for a second. Let's also figure out the meanings of what this is, and it's not what you think. Now that politicians are able to have tattoos, and since everyone has a phone and that shit comes out, and every tattoo's documented instantly because someone has a phone and you're famous, what kind of shift happens there? Because like if politicians can get them, that's like the highest echelon, right?
Well, police officers now are allowed to have full sleeves, and surgeons are getting full sleeves.
Well, I think we had what came with this boom, like I'm saying, from television and things like that. What came with it is the age group, right? So now everybody from that age group, I guess we're talking mid 90s to late 90s, are moving into these positions of, well, who else do you hire, right? So the tattoos become irrelevant, and the skill outweighs what you look like, right?
Oh,
so
wait, you mean like it should be? Like performance over appearance?
Of course.
Wait a minute.
But I think there's things that happen here, and I assume we'll end up branching off and going down this road at some point, but it's the aesthetics come into play too, because you can have trashy tattoos. So, I don't know how we group that, because everybody likes what they like, but I think you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is you can have like poorly done, socially kind of questionable things, right? And that's going to get a response. And you got beautiful flowers that are tattooed really well, and the colors are vibrant, and the skill levels there, and everybody's going to stop you and go, oh, well, that's beautiful. That's different than what I thought about tattoos. You know, you might change someone's mind, just like we talk about race and all these things. It doesn't stand up to contact, right? You might think these things, and then when you meet somebody, you're like, oh, that's not what I thought, right? So I think the ignorance is a factor. So and we may head down there because we talk about aesthetics and what things look like. Yeah. Right? So that's where the big kind of divide starts to come in.
Actually, I kind of wanted to dive into that specific word too.
Yeah.
And that's because the comical that I have is like that age gap where I argue that this falls off a cliff, right? I don't know the exact number. We'll call it 60 for fun, for random numbers. Like 60 is the age where right now people that are 60 and above probably might care about your tattoos. 60 and below probably don't give a shit if you're not doing anything wrong.
50 to 60, somewhere in there.
In that range, right?
Well, I mean, I think you got a generation from the 50s and shockingly people in the 60s, you know, it's like you would think were way much more open-minded, liberal, but not. But they aren't really.
And then you talk about that older demographic. They've got the largest set of wealth that we're talking about, right? They're getting their face tattooed for makeup, for fucking cosmetics. They're getting their like permanent eyeliner put on. And don't get me wrong, I know multiple old women that do this shit, and it's like, okay, I had to have all my tattoos covered by a T-shirt. You're getting your fucking face tattooed.
This is where the aesthetics come in.
Yeah, now it's like a whole different ball game. When it's not a piece of art, and it's just
because there was a time where it was just tattoos.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are one thing, right? But if you go into Target and you are walking past the eyeglasses, there's a huge ad of Post Malone selling the eyeglasses, and his whole face is tattooed, and no big deal. You know, I mean, I think the context is changing. Yeah, like famous, so it's okay.
Well,
he's got the song I like.
Well, here's the fun.
I think he looks stupid, but he likes it, so that's all that matters to him.
No offense. Brian and I both think you look stupid right now, but where I would go with Post Malone is one of those things too, where like that fame, that image, that NIL, if you will, you know, image likeness. Part of that, I think, stems so hard from the fact that too, Post Malone, you're talking about a guy who has covered how many different fucking genres, how many different artist collaborations. So it's almost impossible to not like a Post Malone song. I know my dad likes a Post Malone song, dude.
It's the reach, you know, and it's what's feeling safe. Because I remember one time, like before tattooing, right? I did coffee because a lot of tattooers do, because I could do barista, you know, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, get out at 11, you go work at the tattoo shop from 11 to 11.
To your internship.
Like, yeah, I mean, it just kind of worked out, right? Or you work overnight. I mean, you know, you find these things through your apprenticeship that kind of work, right? We didn't have DoorDash and stuff. You know, like,
right.
I didn't have a lot of options for that. We didn't have internet-based jobs and stuff, right? But I remember one time I was working at, I don't know, Starbucks or somewhere. I worked at a lot of coffee places, but I remember one lady got like, I could tell the energy was really weird. You know, I was tattooed and stuff. I didn't have neck tattoos, so I didn't have to rock the turtleneck or anything. But I had to cover my arms and stuff like that. But she saw me out kind of coming into work, and I was in a what do you call it, uniform yet, or whatever, wear at work, or what do they call it?
Oh yeah, uniform.
Uniform of some sort, whatever it is they make you wear.
Outfit,
your work
attire.
Done that in so long. It's like I've been dressing like me for like 20 years now. Dressing like a hooligan or something. But I remember that customer she was an older white woman, and she definitely, the energy was weird about me being a tattooed black male, and I was a lot younger then. But man, soon as I like went and changed clothes and put on the stupid green apron or whatever I was wearing, completely different attitude towards me. But it's because she felt safe. You
no
know,
longer threatened.
That was the armor. You know, I mean, it just like made her. I had to feel safe to her, but it was like the tattoos had to be covered, and I had the green apron on. So now, but I'm the same person. You know, so
yeah.
I mean,
that was one of my earlier things, but I'm saying it like, say, the Post Malone ad, it's like people are disarmed already because they like the whatever country cover he did, you know.
Yeah.
So like, oh well, it's hip hop, but he did this country song, so now it's safe, you know. Like, not to single anybody out, I'm just making a point.
Yeah.
You know.
But well, I guess going back to that Post Malone thing, like I was gonna make a joke. Like you obviously are one of the scariest people alive. You are black. You are tattooed. Your nose, you got that bowl piercing.
Septum.
Like you are a shitty cop's wet dream to shoot.
Oh yeah, riding motorcycles
But-
and all kinds, smelling like marijuana, and whatever else it is I'm doing. Yeah.
You are such a wet dream for a pullover.
Yeah.
But with going back to like the Post Malone, like I would argue like if he was just a rapper, if he was still just putting out rap, right, or hip hop or whatever we're gonna phrase this as, there's no fucking way he's a glasses ad at Walmart or Target or
not
whatever,
at
you know.
all.
And
You got to go
that's-
back to the folk and country.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I would even argue that, like, you're going to start seeing Jelly Roll pop up, too, because he's just made that huge pledge for, like, an animal sanctuary and stuff. And, like, now all of a sudden, because of that, we can get over our Abrahamic society where religion or whatever our fucking temple beliefs of our body gets in the way. And it's like, oh, we can get back to being people, realizing people do good again.
And not to single out again, but Lizzo was kind of falling off, and she left a vacancy for the body positivity, this, and that.
Well, I mean,
so yeah, Jelly Roll probably will fall right into that.
It's hard to be.
Here's another thing too. You got to think though. A lot of the black rappers, they've had the face tattoos and everything for a long time. Just because of the pigment of their skin, it doesn't stand out like it does
on some.
Post Malone or Jelly Roll having a giant cross under his eye. It's just right in front of your face.
Are you trying to write a new movie script, White Men Can't Tattoo, like faces or something?
I'm just saying that you see it on them, but musicians have been doing it for
Oh, sure.
10, 15 years. Lil Wayne.
For a super long time.
Yeah.
And probably made it popular. But
Yeah. He was one of the first that really, I mean, there's a lot of people that had it before, but he was one of the mainstream ones that was making hundreds of millions of dollars and his face everywhere with tattoos all over it.
Yeah.
well,
But-
that's definitely changed the landscape of it.
It's huge cultural aspects of like fame and popularity drive that. I mean, if Google Images had never come about and like social media didn't exist, we would still be in the same era of what tattoos were when you first started, so to speak, with some fancier technologies, in my opinion.
Probably.
And I would argue that the fancier tech might not even be here because the demand wouldn't be the same because
No, the economics wouldn't have been there.
right.
Because the boom of it, I mean, the flood of money that came into it perpetuated that.
Yeah.
You know, like, so no, I don't think it would have advanced without that kind of money. I mean, if we want to touch on another subject that the same thing happened to is porn. You know what I mean? And without the internet and like, I mean, VHS days, you know, where you put some cartoons at the beginning and end. So if your parents pop it in, they don't know what you're watching. Like that, that became a thing of the past, and there was just so much more tangible and free.
You had to like walk into the store and go into the back room. I never did it because I wasn't old enough. But
It's free, just like
what it
that became, you know, at a finger's touch. Or you got download music, being free, and so tattooing is essentially that, because you can flip through gazillion pictures on Pinterest and Instagram, and like you don't have to have your custom artist draw you anything because you just saw 30 versions of it. You're like, I want that.
I want to say my mom got her first tattoo at like 55, 56 years old.
Mine too, and it was her face.
Well, that she got the makeup put on.
I think she had like the eyeliner done or some shit like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
she went to the high end fancy tattoo studio and got her face tattooed, and that's one of them things where I just laugh like, chick, you told me I couldn't have a tattoo that stuck out of a t-shirt, and now you're going under the needle on your face. All right.
So at this point in the convo, if we had to list them off, number one, what do we think is, or no, let's go backwards. So let's say number 5, and we try and get up to like number 1 or something.
Okay.
Number 5, bottom of the list. What do we think is wrong with tattoos?
Number 1, number
Or
5,
five.
sorry,
Five,
like
yeah, we're
number
starting
1 on the list, but number 5.
Right. To start.
I would say that initially pre-internet era, okay? I'm coming from number 5 with pre-internet era. I would go with Abrahamic society, which that's the Christianity rough belief of the same, you know, fellas here. So a Brahmic society, I think, would be number 5 based off of your body's a temple. So we're going to eliminate this many people. There wasn't the internet. There wasn't the Post Malone. There wasn't the fame. There wasn't any of the flooding.
Systematically.
So I would argue that previously it was core beliefs based upon your parental figures or
religious background.
Whatever. Yeah, Randy, what do you got here?
Since you went with 5, I'd go with number 4.
Oh no, you got to give us your
5.
Yeah,
I'll start with 5 with being the placement and context.
Okay.
With
how actual
shitty tattoos and where you put them.
But you're saying like the actual tattoo.
I think that's higher up on the list.
Yeah, I think that is too.
You think so?
Yeah. I think at 5, I'm agreeing with him.
Yeah, because you can get the most elegant fuck cops on your knuckles, but that's gonna not go well.
Okay, I'll agree. So yeah, let's.
First thing wrong is systematically sectioning off people.
I think we can all agree with that one then.
Those things we're talking no internet, no nothing.
Ooh, I like that. So like I said Abrahamic beliefs, but I think what you just said is like segregation of people who are tattooed versus non-tattooed, like somewhat of a.
Sure.
Yep.
That's
I don't fit in your group
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
You got a tattoo. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like we didn't even get into what the content is or anything.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to point out, and I think part of the culture conversation and stuff that kicks in here, if we were to continue this list right away, I'm going off of American beliefs. And like, I have not been to any country where I've been looked at negatively, in my opinion, for having a tattoo that's visible or anything like that. But they do exist. Areas do exist. And
sure.
We are visiting Singapore, and Singapore is an area where tattoos are starting to become more acceptable, but there are areas where they say it's better to just have them covered.
Yeah.
And that's just a part of it. I mean,
well, you look at like Japan, depending on your tattoos and stuff, they still have the association with like the Yakuza and gangs and everything.
South Korea is also big too.
But then you also go to New Zealand.
Yeah.
And they have their news anchors have their faces tattooed with
I can only speak on those in speculation because even as a tattooer, I've only been so exposed. Some tattooers get to travel a lot, and I got to travel some, but I only feel it appropriate to speak on Americanized tattooing.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm only saying that for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I can have an opinion, but I don't know how much fact it's rooted in. How much it's not non-biased and opinion-based stuff.
I'll tell you a fun one here, and this is, I grew up in an area where there was a very good melting pot, if you will. It was Kansas City suburb, and going to elementary school, we had a Samoan kid, and he started getting tattooed when he was in 3rd grade. Mm-hmm. And I remember our 3rd grade teacher was, and still is, I still talk to her. She's the fucking coolest lady ever. Miss Flanagan, now Miss Campbell.
We can drop F-bombs on here.
Oh yeah.
You can fucking say whatever you want, babe.
I think we had until just now.
Do you need to just get one out to feel better about it?
Oh, fuck yeah.
There we go.
All right, I'm good. All right, go.
No, it's like
proceed.
I remember when this woman saw this kid's tattoo in 3rd grade. It was starting on his thigh. Samoan. This is a traditional tattoo. His dad was a tattoo artist in Samoan, like the old, hammer and
poke and stick.
Yeah. We're talking old school. And so this was like, he was getting like an alternating triangle blacked out on his thigh, like a band, and this is like, as he told us, I remember this so vividly. He told us this was like his scout badge.
I was gonna say it's a story into manhood and everything.
It's a passage.
Culturally, he told us this was like his scout badge. And it was so interesting because I remember I remember my 3rd grade teacher having the conversation like, okay, not a lot of 3rd graders getting tattooed. Mm-hmm. That was an interesting one. 4th grade teacher sees it, calls parent teacher conference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she was ready to get
protective services.
She was ready to call the whole thing. And it's like, she met these people. And then I remember, we had family friends in where I grew up in school and such, teachers, etc. Parents had kids that went through the schools multiple times. So like we knew people. It was very interesting to see that dichotomy of like, okay, one teacher year A is good, but then teacher B is like, oh my God, it's like, this is abuse. And it's like, wait a minute. One of you hasn't traveled
Right.
and one of you has.
The story had to have circulated the school by that point. That teacher had to have known about it.
Honestly, this was the 90s, man. This was before cell phones.
yeah,
This was
this
when
is-
kids were fucking real.
And
Yeah.
this is all
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we all knew, but this was like,
I'm just saying, in the teacher's lounge, you think somebody like, I got this third grader who's got tattoos.
Yeah, but
well, I will argue that, and I'm not trying to name names here on this one, but like the third grade to the fourth grade teacher that I had was a very different jump of who's who on personality, you know?
Okay.
And one was, I'm going to teach kids how the world works. And one was, I went to school and learned to swim online, and I'm going to teach kids to swim now. And it's like, what the fuck you doing here? Like, no offense, but like, if you're going to freak the fuck out about anything, and I understand it's a weird thing for a kid to come in tattooed, but if you hold your arm up and they don't have the exact same skin tone, maybe there's a question first before we like worry about abuse or something.
well, we start getting into, cultural thing. I mean, that starts getting into political ideas too. I love how Ken-Zee starts heading political, even if he's not trying to.
I'm not trying to go political.
but it's still like the trajectories.
Well, I
Because you
guess,
start talking about like we're in America, so it's this thing, and we talk about laws and different. That law is not the same in another country. It's not child abuse. It's like this other thing.
But what happens when it falls under the American law?
Yeah, but once you're here, it is. So like, it's hard to be like, oh, that's awesome culturally.
Yeah.
But you're also like, well, in this country, that's
all right, let's just be clear. If the Amish, who don't really do wrong by anyone in society, to my knowledge,
I love the Amish.
if the Amish
They make some
started
good bread.
tattooing their children as a rite of passage in this sense, like, it's not going to turn into a Waco, Texas, unless they start stockpiling shit they shouldn't. Like, if you're tattooing kids, we'll get over it. Look at what else we've gotten over with kids involved lately, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's get the fuck over tattoos real quick.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like,
That's
okay,
a touchy one.
if hey, I'm just trying to.
Should you be able to tattoo your dog?
No.
Ooh, that's see. I feel like a
so
dog
what's funny
can't
about
give you
that?
consent.
Which is funny about that is this, and I hadn't even thought about this until this happened to me a few years back. Right, I'd always been like, oh, you don't tattoo your animals, your dog or whatever. Nobody wants to see an abused animal, which they cut all this new Superman, they cut all the crypto scenes out because Lex is like torturing the dog, and the focus groups are like, hell no, like, I'm gonna see you beat up this dog. It's a CG dog. But anyways,
I saw that
So they took the dog
adoptions
out.
are up like 500% because of that movie right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, so now people are adopting dogs. But when I was getting divorced a few years back, my ex decided to keep my dog hostage, right? She didn't want to give me my dog. Well, I go to my lawyers and things, and they're like, well, it's kind of like a piece of furniture. Like, if you got a date to take him to the vet, just keep him, or reach over the back fence and grab him. Like, we didn't, don't say we told you that, but you can just take him. And I'm like, how can I do that? She's going to call the cops. She's like, cops won't get involved in, animal stuff. It's like having a couch. Like,
If it's
whoever's
not
got it has it, right? They're not going to get
Possession's
involved.
9/10
It's like a
of the law.
bear bond.
Yeah, they're not. So just like basically like having a chair, like it's irrelevant. And so I thought about the tattooing of your pet again. And now we all outlive them. We get pets anyways, because we're like, oh, I love this dog. Knowing we're going to outlive them, right? We set ourselves up to lose the animal, right? Eventually.
Mhm.
So, is it okay to tattoo your dog or not? I'm not saying I would. I'm just making a point that it starts getting real touchy. So when you're talking about the kids, it's like, well, it's my kid. They're in my care to an adult. I make all their decisions for them, right?
I'm gonna
So
jump.
why can't I tattoo them as a rite of passage? I mean,
I'm gonna jump your ass real quick with this.
Yeah.
Tattooing a dog is a very weird one, like a very odd thought to me, because like they can't get consent. So you are.
That's where I'm at with it. They
You're
can't give
hurting.
consent, but at least a kid can say,
Yeah.
this is my rite of passage. I'm willing to do this.
The other thing
he's
is
got a 12-year-old just like, yeah.
let me also be real. Like, you can only tattoo a dog right here where it's like visible.
I've seen it. I don't know if it was real or not, but where they've like shaved him down.
You got a little guy running around out there, little gal running around out there with a pink heart on the side of the butt occasionally, right? And that's cute, and it's just a little dye, right? It's nothing crazy.
Yep,
Not a tattoo.
just a little airbrush.
Hurting them's different.
Let me ask you a question. Shave your dog's ass, tattoo it, hair grows back. Why would you tattoo a fucking dog, and where could you do it other than the gut?
That's true.
Then you're just hurting them for no reason. It's for your own pleasure, right?
And I feel like to tattoo a dog, you'd have to put it out. Like, you'd have to put it under anesthesia.
Well, that's what's That's what's wrong with tattoos right there. Tattooing animals.
All right. Well, let's
Here, when you talk about putting them out, I'm headed there because I want to talk about that. It's this whole people like sedating themselves
And doing 10 tattoo artists all at once.
Yeah, that's freaking wild.
That's the newest trend.
It's a little higher up on the list. That might be like 3.
I heard what's wrong with tattoos?
Yeah, it's up there. That's ridiculous and should not happen. But and as an influencer who died recently, I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
He knocked himself out to get tattooed and didn't wake up, and that was only a couple months ago. It was pretty recent.
Yeah, people. There are rare cases where people have reactions to the anesthesia,
and who knows who's doing it too. Like our big time healthcare professionals are not doing that.
No
lighting doing that.
Yeah, so
like no way.
You're not going into the doctor's office where a tattoo artist showed up and a collaborative anesthesia is going down.
This is
although I would assume it is cheaper to have an anesthesiologist there for rather than insurance-based doctor buildings.
Sure, but this is what we're talking about, where it comes in like the Post Malone thing. Not to go back to that, but money. Like the economics are there, so it changes what's reasonable.
Well, we talked about like rite of passage. I think the pain of getting a tattoo, while there are methods to make it less painful, it's almost a rite of passage in itself, in my opinion. And it's one of those pain is kind of pleasure kind of deal. When I get tattoos, it's a release of certain
endorphin release and all that.
Yeah.
But you have a slew of people now that with so many products, which comes with the boom of any kind of industry, is that there's people who have never gotten tattooed without numbing cream ever.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever used numbing cream before, but I've never had like my throat done or face or anything like that. I would imagine that's not the most comfortable tattoo to get.
Yeah. I did it on 1 or 2 spots that I knew were sensitive for me, but not really because of pain or that I couldn't do it. Just with owning a shop and having products, I would never want to suggest something I didn't try myself. So there's 3 or 4 or 5 that around the shop we tried them. A lot of companies gave us samples and things like that. So it's more so like being hip to the times because somebody's going to come in. You can't stop them from putting it on before they come in. And are you going to cancel your $1,000 tattoo and not buy groceries and pay rent because somebody used numbing cream? It starts to get
that's one of the things on my top 5 list that I thought about kind of comes to that, because you can get numbing cream really easily now. Just get on the computer. You can have it dropped off at your doorstep by the end of the day.
Sell it right there at the front counter. Yeah,
yep, they sell it, or you can get it on Amazon dropped off that day.
Hell, you can buy numbing meth.
Buckets.
Yeah, you can get that too.
Whatever numbing substance you want.
I had a dude come in. I did his whole leg. I did this underwater theme, and it was great. But once I got behind his knee and his kneecap and all this stuff, he had ordered like anal numbing cream. And what's funny is he drop shipped it on accident. It came to his work. Right. And he had to like try to, argue it off. It's just like, right. But he said it was like worked better than any other numbing cream. He's like, dang, couldn't feel my leg at all. And I was like, I guess it's numbing butts.
If it's good enough for your asshole, it's good enough for your knee.
Yeah.
So with that being dropped off, like I said, one of my top 5 problems is anybody can get a machine now.
What number is that? Because we need to start off.
That's going to be my 4.
4 accessibility.
Anyone can get a machine.
Anybody can get a machine.
Accessibility, and it boomed during COVID.
Okay.
The problem with anybody getting a machine, as we know, do not go by the standards of the health department or anything like that.
No standards.
No training. No health code whatsoever.
Nothing. You can just buy it.
So I'm actually going to tie directly into yours. And actually, I was going to go with, the thought process of get what you pay for, AKA quality. And that is a tattoo. You only know how good it is once you're done. Right?
True, because it is subjective. The problem with that, with art, is that you can have somebody with all the greatest, most expensive equipment in the world and all the training, but the tattoo's horrible.
Let me ask you this, fellas. Either of you know someone with a tattoo where you love the person, you see they've got other tattoos, they're fine, but there's one where every time you see them, you just have to look at him and be like, what the fuck?
I have to tell my girlfriend all the time, cheaper is not always better.
Ooh, if you get a Groupon for tattoos.
For me, it might be slightly different because I've seen a lot.
Well, yeah, you're the expert here.
A lot. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely a difference between cheap and affordable, because you can get an affordable tattoo and not get ripped off.
Absolutely.
And it can still be a good one if that artist is like, oh, this is really going to benefit my portfolio, or I want to learn this thing. And I got somebody I've tattooed a few times, maybe they'll come in and let me try this because there's.
Or you book them out for a day and they know that it's going to be multiple days worth of sessions booked out.
So I think there can be a fine line with that. But yeah, shopping around for the cheapest tattoo in town and all that stuff is like, yeah, you get what you pay for. You know, you're going to pay from a seasoned artist, you're going to pay, you know, 150 or 200. You get somebody telling you the same thing for 60 or 70. It's a little scary. I mean, that should tell you.
Well, and like I said, I told my girlfriend she's had some that weren't that good that she's got cheaper. She actually had one that a guy really just wanted to tattoo this one picture he drew about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Couldn't find anybody to draw it. It was a butterfly with like a skeleton.
Yeah.
In it.
You have apprentices starting out.
That too.
And they're doing them cheaper. We wouldn't even let our apprentices charge very much, you know, but like, doesn't mean somebody got a bad tattoo either. You know?
Yeah, no, and that's where I say, like, when I say quality or, you know, get what you pay for, I'm not saying that there's not a great artist that's out there doing stuff for an affordable rate. Right. I am just saying, like, if you go to Facebook Marketplace, you show up to a Quick Trip parking lot, and there's a windowless van, and you go to a, you know, fourplex in the hood.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And there's a tweaker with like no gloves on. Yeah, and all that.
It's one at the kitchen table.
Or you see them like rinsing the fucking needles off in the sink before they're putting them in the gun. Like, you know, this is a point where you jump up and say maybe not.
Yeah.
And I really feel like somewhere in that quality, you get lost with the hype of media, the hype of that Lil Wayne, the hype of that Post Malone, and like you get these people who are less fortunate. Sure. Let's say less fortunate, because I'm not saying poor, I'm not saying fatter, I'm not saying uglier, I'm not saying any of these words. I'm just less fortunate.
Just not wealthy.
And they want something to fit in. They see that goddamn Post Malone glasses ad, and now all of a sudden
they want to emulate it. Sure.
Yeah. And so what do? They grab a fucking Facebook Marketplace ad for Jumpin' Jim's tattoos for $15, anything you want.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where it's like that right there, just like you said, the blow up during COVID, the blow up when everyone's at home, the blow up with media, social media, the blow up with, I mean, let's say just music, because I think every genre at this point is breaking into them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that's one of those things where when I say quality, get what you pay for, you also tie into the, unfortunately, not all these fails are, you know, some of them I think are just people that are out to try and get something to fit in or feel better about themselves or
it's
do something.
Issues.
Yeah.
And that's a lot different now than what it used to be. Not to sound like an old folk.
Well, and one thing I'm seeing too is that the I would say probably the 30 to 40 age demographic, you're seeing a lot of them just getting them blacked out. I see blacked out on your arm. I don't know if you did that on purpose or if there was something there and it was covered.
I wasn't covering up anything horrible. I just decided it was more of an aesthetic thing. I wanted to black it out and do a bunch of tattoos in white over it. It was more artistic. Like, not that I hated anything that was there. Really.
Well, I mean, Kat Von D just got her body blacked out, and
moral thing, you know, covering up some stuff.
Machine Gun Kelly just got his blacked out.
Okay, hang on. Pete Davidson. That motherfucker's getting all moved.
Lasering them all. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like 200 tattoos or something.
He's turned that shit off, man.
He had some shitty ones too.
Well, I mean,
he's got a high pain tolerance. I think 50 Cent removed a lot of his as well. His back piece has been underway getting removed, but he kind of became more of a movie star, and that's a thing, you know. Okay. And some people won't, because then it'll lock you into certain roles, and he's always wanted to be Hollywood.
I have actually heard that that's a huge thing in Hollywood, and like if you are physically tattooed in a visible place, shirt off, you know, you potentially have pigeonholes for your roles,
sure,
and especially.
I don't think that's true anymore, because look at like Johnny Depp. Well, he has tattoos everywhere, and you would never know it because of the quality of makeup now.
But it's less true now than it was
10 years ago. Yeah, because the product didn't exist.
We're talking about the identities, though. It's like Johnny Depp's a movie star and has always been a movie star. If you got a rapper that's jumping over to the other side, that's a little different because they're so recognizable and branded as that. Only one that's crossed over like that where you kind of forget he's him and can embody a role is Common, honestly. Yeah. In my opinion. But like Lil Wayne, he's gotten proposals for Hollywood for like 15 years and he won't do them because he said, I can't be anything other than me. Like, what am I going to play? Like, he's just too recognizable. He's like, I can't play anything other than me, or you'd have to have me in full body makeup in Star
Yeah.
Wars as an alien or something. He's like,
Do that, or just like a cameo in a movie as himself, like you said.
which he won't even do those, you know. But
Yeah, I mean, Common, he got out of the music
you're
pretty
talking,
much.
You're
And
talking Hell on Wheels and all kinds of stuff. Is like
Yeah.
really,
Smoking Aces.
yeah, American Gangster. You know, he plays one of Frank Lucas's brothers, and I mean, he can really get into a role, and you kind of forget he's a rapper for a minute there.
I think of him more of an actor now that I do
Yeah.
a musician.
Which is really hard to do. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, Will Smith did it, but he didn't have the face visually for, you know, like, I mean, he was
I
already
feel like he got
kind of-
popular behind the camera, and then the
kind of
music
vanilla looking
came with it.
anyways. Yeah, he was kind of vanilla looking anyways. It's not like he was tattooed up. He was never like a big gangster rapper or anything. So
No,
That's true. That's true.
I don't think he still doesn't cuss in his
No.
raps, does he?
I
So
don't think so.
All right, boys. What's number 3?
Well, okay, so 4 would be, what was 4?
the accessibility of just like
Okay, being able to
to-
buy.
anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it.
Accessibility, quality.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it.
Yep.
Anybody can do it now.
That's
Anyone's an artist, technically, right?
right.
Technically, I wouldn't call them artists, but they can get a machine and they can put it to skin. So
Yeah.
we'll let you kick off number 3.
Oh man. The branding is a problem, and
Okay.
let me explain. Also, then we always have to go to the internet, because since the late 90s, the internet has altered everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last kind of true time. I think Vanilla Ice said that. He was like, there's no truer time than like early 90s, because then the internet hit and it was just,
Well, it's the last time
changed
he was
everything.
real, too.
It was real. Yeah, too, exactly. So
Cool.
he's just saying that was the last time it was kind of genuine. You know, like you got.
He's now
Jordan,
Rob Van
it was just-
Winkle.
I mean, it just wasn't. Internet wasn't selling thing. I mean,
Right.
you know, it wasn't even an option, so it wasn't a thing. But I think with the selfie popularity
Mm-hmm.
that happened late 90s, early 2000s, and reality shows, the selfiness of it all started to make it look sexy, even beyond the I can just get a machine and do it, right? It's the branding of it, and the quality doesn't have to stand up to, like, if you're Kat Von D did this too. It's like, oh, if you're a hot girl
Mm-hmm.
and you're barely wearing any clothes and you got some tattoos, then like, oh, she must be good, I'm gonna go to her. Same with the dudes. You know, I'm not singling it out in a sexist kind of way. I'm saying that the dudes too. I think the branding, the image became bigger than the art. I think that's
Oh yeah, I mean those guys
that's
just
still-
because
that's
they
still
were
a big problem now.
on TV and got a show which was more about drama than the art, anyways. I mean, they were charging what back in the early 2000s, $5,000 a session.
Right. Becomes to dictate the scale of what you're doing. When it used to be, you go to a convention and like it was this much, but now it's like, oh, I'm on MySpace, which back to MySpace. My MySpace is huge, so now my tattoos cost 3 times the amount. Well, your rose isn't any better. Like I always say, a rose is a rose. Like yours isn't that much better. Like what's making it so much better than this other rose? What are you gonna do that's so exciting
Fair.
that this armband's gonna be that much better than the other armband? Like,
Right.
With
You know?
branding, I think I would tie in and say that, like, that this is that same time frame of like early 90s pre-internet where people still had CDs or whatever, you know, and this is when WWE, WWF, and all WCW, all the wrestling, all the taboo stuff like that, where like, so just remember, think of it this way: The Rock is one of the most charitable and family-friendly actors, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's covered in tattoos.
do you know how many people wanted that freaking shoulder cap
The bowl.
Polynesian thing?
Oh, that
The Rock.
afterwards. But first, it was the bowl and the.
Dude, I probably made so much money off that thing.
So I'm
and
just-
the Godsmack son.
I'm just saying,
Money I made off that thing.
when
Like a lot.
when
I believe it.
when the entertainment industry broke in with things like wrestling that might have been taboo in the average family living room, right? It wasn't being discussed. This is previous to Miami Ink and all that shit, right? But you have that The Rock and anyone in this like influential media persona like him break out and go, hey, I'm in entertainment and I'm not going to wrestle anymore, so I'm just going to start doing other things where they need big, strong men to be in their entertainment roles.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that taboo, that that's kind of that branding,
that tribal thing on his armor. There's so many tribal armor.
Well, I mean, like if you really look back and you think like pre-90s movies where people had visible, significant tattoos. That's how I'll phrase that: significant and visible tattoos.
Yeah.
Not much.
Not much.
No,
not fucking much. And again, you had that taboo entertainment where money went fucking ham, skyrocketed. I mean, wrestling was wildly popular.
Mm-hmm.
How many other things are wildly popular media wise that aren't like the taboo or like the television norm, but fit that taboo? Like I would argue every Facebook Red Bull video is like a taboo video, and most of those guys are tattooed up, doing crazy shit.
So yeah, you had it was a combination of things, because you had Steve-O, they did the Jackass thing where you got tattooed, with the car bouncing off.
Yeah, the smiley face.
Yeah. So I think that like the branding, I think that's something that took some magic out of the artwork, in my opinion, out of the originality.
Well, yeah, because I mean, how many of these did you do? Everybody in the early 2000s had them.
Not as many as you would think.
You're in that gang of people who had $90, right?
More tribal than barbed wire.
That one's actually pretty expensive.
Dude, what's funny is this come full circle. Like tattooers love doing some barbed wire now. Like I love doing anything.
Out of nostalgia and stuff. I had a friend who had it, passed away, and I went and got it. But the coolest thing about this tattoo is the guy claims he has done over 1 million tattoos. I would imagine he's probably not alive anymore. He was pushing probably 70s at the time, an old Sailor Jerry type.
Probably did that many.
He was in Port Hueneme, California, and I got there really early, about 10 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't take appointments, only does flash on the wall. And by the time I got done with my tattoo, which only took him 15 minutes to do this, he had a line, because he was on the Navy base. Right outside the ship, and he had a line. It was the first of the month, and he had a line right out the door, about 30 people waiting to get in. It was crazy, but he was knocking out tattoos in 10 to 15 minutes tops.
What's your number 3?
My number 3. What is wrong with tattoos? We already went with society. We went with the
accessibility.
The accessibility.
I said branding on number 3.
And the branding.
Do you want me to hit you with my number 3 first?
I was going to say number 3 is the people.
People.
The people getting them or giving them? Like, what do you mean by people?
I would say the people, but yes, but the people getting them, because you get such a wide variety, because you get the people, one that want something racist, or you get the Karens that just, you can't please no matter what. You get the people that don't let the artist express themselves artistically, which really confines what they're doing and their joy of it. So I'd say people in general.
I was going with rebellion.
Okay.
And I think a lot of that is tied with people, obviously. But how many people go out and get a tattoo because of an event, because of something? And it's
like something's the catalyst.
My dog died. My friend died.
I got divorced, or I got married.
Or and like, or whatever.
So you think that doing that as an event is what's wrong?
Well, like when I say rebellion, though, what I say is like, not okay, I lost my dog and I want to get a dog memorial tattoo. I'll never regret this. I loved that dog. I mean it as I'm 18, I have $80, and I'm going to go hide this on my shoulder because my parents said no.
I don't know if that's what's wrong with tattooing that.
I don't think it's what's wrong with it, but I think there is a stigma of that generational gap that broke because of rebellion. And like the rebellion, I don't know what sensationalism that society brought to it,
The rebellion doesn't have as much substance.
So it's not like, fuck you, I'm going to get tattooed. No, it's more of the like, that rebellion in society of like, if you got one, or why did you get one? And again, there's a lot of people, and again, I'm not going to say a dog memorial tattoo is a bad idea. I'm going to say something like, oh, my second girlfriend, I'm 22, broke up with me, so I'm going to go get some
song lyric.
Like the fuck.
Yeah.
Or, like,
I mean, That's a hard one because as a tattooer, I mean, we're definitely always faced with and always will be is that line between this is my job, it's customer service. Everybody should get what they want. They wouldn't get the same thing I would get on me.
Have you ever told anybody no?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think across the board, I would say most tattooers, not all, but most stay away from hate tattoos.
Mhm.
You know, we try to. And that embodies a lot of things, you know, racist stuff, all kinds of things. So you stay away from hate tattoos and ones that won't age well or are going to look bad. So yeah, there's times I've had to say no. Or it's a person that you really don't vibe with and can't work with, and you know it's going to go bad for both.
Mhm.
It's not something I want walking around out there. Not something, you know, it's not going to be quality, or the money was an issue and it turned into haggling, and it just, now the whole vibe is thrown off, and it's just, you need to go find another artist because there's thousands of them out there. You can just go get another one.
Times have changed, and I doubt that he still does this because times have changed. But I know when I started getting my sleeve and stuff, my tattoo artist wouldn't do your hand unless you had a sleeve.
Sure.
And if you didn't have the sleeve, he wasn't going to do your neck.
Right.
Just because of, if you're not willing to commit to having something seen and then just jump straight to the hands and throat, which could affect your job. Yeah. And it did 20 years ago.
Well, they used to call them job stoppers, but that's not necessarily the case now, because with social media influencing, and sometimes you get jobs because you have a bunch of tattoos and you look a certain way. Again, we come back to aesthetics and image and branding and things like that. So now it's used as that tool and stuff, which is why I still feel like I lean on that one as like a number 3. But I think we're all circling the same wagon, you know, like we're just kind of like,
I feel like we're all kind of following the same trends, so to speak. And I think that everyone's adding to each other's aspects here.
Yeah, I think we're roughly around that same idea, but rebellion. I mean, like I said, it's all this weird image thing.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily based in the artwork or what the traditions of get tattooed have been, you know, 30 years prior, from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. You know, it's like it's a different animal.
So you've said no to people.
Oh, yeah.
What is the craziest thing that you've tattooed? Like, not what image is the craziest thing you think?
Well,
good one.
I've been asked this question a couple of times, because when you're tattooing, you get a lot of people ask the same questions. They're like, "Oh, did you do all those yourself? What's the craziest thing you've ever done? Does anybody freak out? And you have to stop?" You know, like you get a lot of the same questions.
It's the small talk that you do in an Uber.
Yeah. Oh, it's
the craziest shit.
It's like any industry. I mean, bartenders get the same question. They get the same questions over and over. You know, I learned to endure it, and I have my like kind of catch-all answers, but I'll go in a little bit more depth with you guys if you want to. But I remember in my first couple of years, I had some guys come in, and I don't know if it was like a bet or a joke. I knew there was going to be 5 or 6 guys. They called first, they rolled in, and it was like, I don't know if it was, they seemed like a fraternity guy, but it wasn't very clear, you know, like I couldn't really tell what was going on. But it also seemed a little, how do I want to describe this? They were all into each other. You know what I mean? Like
Something was off.
something was just going on. Not that I was judging it, because this tattoo shop, you know, like you see all things. I don't care. Money's green, you know, like whatever. And I just wanted to tattoo people. You know, I was hyped about tattooing anything. So I don't know if it was a bet. I couldn't really read the situation, but it was like a drawing of a condom, and they all wanted it. And it was just a super bizarre drawing. And I tattooed it on all of them, and they acted super weird the whole time, and it was so uncomfortable and stuff. So that's one of the crazier kind of situations.
Where did they put this said condom at?
They all got it in different places. I mean, it wasn't like butt cheeks or anything, but it was arm, shoulder. I mean, and I was thinking like, man, years from now, they just got these rubber.
It has to be like an inside joke or something.
I'm like, man,
I hope.
But they're all like weirded out about getting
the whole thing was weird. I could barely describe that. The energy was weird. Okay, so that's one.
Man, that's
only because I cannot. I mean, it doesn't sound so wild because I can't convey the energy that was in there.
And I also,
cool. It was just the whole thing wasn't cool.
I have like 119 questions that I know you can't answer too. So it's like, you know what I mean?
It was something.
There's no facts here.
And it was like these dudes had not really been around each other, but all came back together. Like it was strange. Okay, so
like a college reunion where we fucked in middle school.
Yeah, maybe that a little circle thing. I don't really know.
Went biscuit one too many times.
Yeah, I don't really know. So there was that, and
Played Soggy Biscuits too many times.
yeah.
It's Limp Bizkit.
So the
Soggy
other time
biscuit.
I was tattooing, and this one's kind of like sad, but I was tattooing in Blue Springs, I think, and a lady called. She said she wanted to get like her son's signature. He had committed suicide, all this stuff, and I was like, okay, I felt bad for her. I was like off work already. It was like whatever it was, I agreed to it, because I felt bad for her. This was like her teenage son. So she comes in. I was like, oh yeah, bring me a signature, and I can photocopy it, make a stencil right off of it.
Yeah,
and
pretty easy
make it a
tattoo.
She's like, well, I actually can't get it tonight. Changed my mind. I'm going to do it on, Tuesday or whatever, or next day, or 2 days later or something like that. I was like, okay, well, go ahead and bring it down. I'll have the stencil ready for you, because I was kind of squeezing it in on this other appointment. So I was like, that way I can be ready for you, so on and so forth. So she comes down, and she hands me this piece of paper, and I'm thinking photocopy, like you copy the signature. No, it's
The suicide letter. Oh,
so I'm standing there holding it. It's super awkward, and I'm looking at it. It took me a minute to like register what was going on. I'm like holding this kid's suicide note, and not only was that kind of weird, but like, I hadn't thought about that. When it's a suicide, that's it. Like cops don't do. There's nothing. There's no investigation. There's no evidence. So I'm like, why is this thing here? Like, but they don't keep that stuff or anything. And she just kind of left it with me and bailed. And I held on to this note for like a couple days, and that was one of the crazier experiences, and like really threw me, because I'd done the like memorial stuff, but I was pretty young. This was only my first couple of years of tattooing, but
Yeah.
and that was definitely beyond people bringing in ashes and crap. Like people do stuff like that, but yeah, that was pretty bizarre, and like so I could not read it. I'm sitting there holding it, yeah. So that was pretty intense. I never had anything happen like that since. But that was pretty wild to have somebody hand you that from a kid, So I was like, I don't know.
pretty heavy.
I was like, I don't know if I want to do this job. I was like, this sucks. I was like, that's when it hit me with the like tattooers being a fucking therapist or something. I was like, oh man, I just want to do some cool dragons and shit. I was like, this sucks.
That's actually the perfect segue, man. I'll start off with number 2, boys.
Yeah.
Content.
Content. Yeah.
Content of the tattoo.
Yeah.
What is your tattoo? Whether it's weird for the artist because you've brought in a suicide note for a signature,
A condom.
whether it's weird for the artist because you've asked for something that, like that, whether it's weird for the artist because,
They show up and say, hey, look at this swastika. Can you throw this on my back?
Right.
well, either that or what if Brian starts tattooing a guy, and I'm not saying this has happened to you. I'm assuming that at some point,
Everything's happening.
I was going to say,
Everything.
I'm making an assumption.
Yeah.
We'll see if I'm an ass for both of us here, but like, I'm assuming you started tattooing a normal tattoo on some human being, and then a tattoo has become visible that they already have, that you're like, yeah, I don't agree with that at all, but I'm halfway through this fucking ink,
Oh,
so
yeah,
we're
I'm
just
already
going to
in
get this done and out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this reminds me of another
And
that I'm going to share with that I have to share.
So I want to tell you a fun one. Randy's in construction. I'm in construction, and it was an interesting one. And there was a report that we had to handle, and it was a white guy and a black guy, as it would be, And white guy has Aryan Brotherhood tattoos, construction.
Yeah.
Black guy has tattoos, teardrop on the face. There was a dispute, and it ended up being resolved. And after all is said and done, the guy that was white was in prison, and he said I had 2 options on where to go and who to join.
Oh sure. Yeah.
And
It's not the same as out here.
And as he said, unfortunately, I have 6 tattoos on my body that I don't agree with or believe in whatsoever. But unfortunately, here we are. And construction hires felons.
Yeah.
So when I say content, I don't just mean like the weirdest shit. Like if you tattooed a 7.5-inch ruler on some girl's thigh that says you must be this tall to ride. I don't give a shit. But like
The novelty stuff.
yeah, but I mean, and it's the same thing. Like, there's no lawyer in the world ever that's walking into a courtroom with fuck cops on his knuckles. It's just not gonna fucking happen.
Right.
And so, like, when I say that there's a level of impossible and stupid in content, that's what I'm talking about. And
Yeah,
like,
it's choices. It does come down to choices.
right.
Yeah.
And so, where I go with content is both driven on some out of control situations that again can turn into something based off of what the content is and then be resolved because two guys sit in a room and talk like this, two different races, and figure out, oh my God, those tattoos weren't your choice.
Right.
And then you also find out, like, okay, some people just got real weird tattoos for real weird reasons, or they've done something dark, whatever.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, I go with content for number 2.
Yeah.
What do you guys got?
I agree.
I agree with that one.
I think that leans into what I was even thinking for my number 2. But I think, yeah, I had 2 more instances that were pretty wild. One of them, a chick came in and she had these pictures of, I mean, she told me she was kind of into some like BDSM stuff. She wanted this like collar tattooed around her neck. I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Kind of just like dog collar. She got the chrome and it was kind of a cool design. So I was like, yeah, cool. You know, and she was like, well, this is what it looks like. She had pictures and all this stuff. Okay. Did one session. Cause it's like wrapping from her throat around her neck. So it wasn't all in one shot. Right.
Oof.
So she comes back in the second time and she brings the collar. No big deal. I was like, oh, cool. Visual reference. You know, like
Right.
can see it. And like, you know, I'm working on it and I get it locked in. And I'm like, we got one more session. Right. This time her boyfriend comes with her and he's the dom, I suppose. You know, he's the dominant, I suppose.
He's the other half.
And this is where it got like super freaky. I'm like halfway through it and they're starting to get like turned on and weird. He's like, I catch him out of my peripheral, like touching her and this, and I had to like shut the whole thing down. And I was like, look, I'm not judging your kink. I'm not kink shaming or anything like that, but like you're with no consent. You're like trying to involve me and you're like, whatever.
Well, that nice.
He was like getting off on her, getting tattooed. Like it got weird, you know? And I was just like,
you're tattooing
had to
her
just stop
neck.
it.
If he flicks the bean wrong and you're tattooing her neck,
It got weird. Like
that's a weird hiccup to explain to everyone.
Once the dog collar just went up to the ear.
First, they weren't like touching anything weird. I've had couples come in and somebody's holding a hand or got a hand on the shoulder. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't care. But this was like some moaning started happening and shit. And I was like, okay. Like I had to shut shit down. And I was like, all right, I'm fucking done. You know, like this isn't what we're doing. You know?
Dude, that's the weirdest time to have, like, try and fucking play with somebody when they're getting tattooed.
And like, what's the tattooer supposed to do? You know, it's just like,
Yeah, like, because they're going to want to
this
start
isn't
your
some
ass on
private
Yelp.
weird thing that I joined in on. I mean, there's just hella people in the shop. There's other artists. Like they're in a full on work day.
And they're, you know, they're going to one star your ass on a review
Oh,
if
sure.
you make a weird mark and
Oh,
they
I'm sure.
fucked you up.
So I just shut it down. I don't know that I even finished the details or anything. I just that was it. And I was like, it's too freaky for me. So yeah, I agree. Content can dictate some things. And I think there's a bit more of an issue with that in the industry now too, with what I'm hearing, through the grapevine and just being kind of having one toe in it is a lot of the older, now there's a new division happening where a lot of the older tattooers are having issue with some of the younger artists coming in that are like barely tattooed and they're doing all these like super fine line tattoos that are like not going to hold up, you know, and things like that. And they're just like which on one level I get it because about the integrity, you know, of the content and it lasting. But the other issue is kind of like, well, those aren't your clients. What do you care? Like, those aren't the people you're tattooing anyways. What difference is it? They're not taking money out of your pocket. It's irrelevant. People turning their 18 every day. That's why tattooers are still successful. Is every day somebody's turning 18. Every day somebody's
A new client happens every day.
Anyway, tattoos aren't going to stop anytime soon, right?
I would argue what you just said, though, is pride. And I mean, in both ways, for both the person getting a tattoo and both yourself as well. Like, if you're going out there and trying to put the best product out there, represent your industry, do your part, and also brand yourself, while someone fucking up a tattoo with doing something that they have no idea what they're doing because they don't have the knowledge, and anyone with the tattoo gun's a tattoo artist, right?
Right.
I think that's where you jump into that like pride issue of like knowledge and what keeps people coming back.
Experience, longevity, and then you have the other ones that are, if you have $100, I'll put whatever you want on it.
Right. And again, that
And
goes
that doesn't
into
really
like,
prop up the industry necessarily.
but like what I heard from you was like a very prideful thing, not in a bad way at all, but like it doesn't represent the industry well. It doesn't hold up. So like it doesn't do anyone any favors for a tattoo, for you to get some temporary tattoo basically because you've gotten some single wide needle of an eyelash on you.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And, there's a lot of techniques a lot of the older guys know, like, the palms. It really needs to be stippled in there instead of actually lines, because there's certain ways on certain parts of the body that the apprenticeships is how you learn that kind of stuff.
And I did that with my apprentices. I was like, oh, no, you have to do it this way. I mean, I'm not going to divulge all that right here, but
yeah,
I had to walk them through that stuff, and they were like, oh, I didn't realize but there's only one way to know that, and it's passed down. It's not, you're not going to YouTube that.
Mm-mm.
And to be taught to you that way. It has to be on the spot and physically,
It's a learning curve.
It's not something you could just say it.
Yeah, there's a million different scenarios that you can come across in the tattoo industry, and you're not going to be able to research all of them on the spot. It's going to be per person, per basis, and then you've got the people with the knowledge that can point you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
I want to fight both of you, and this isn't in a bad way. You can research any of this on the spot nowadays. What I will argue though is
being
the same
correct.
swim online thing, where it's like, okay, you can learn to do a new tattoo technique on YouTube. That doesn't mean you know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's right.
It's
good
good.
factors that lead to that.
You know what I mean?
You can try and build a couple stairs in your barn. You can get on YouTube and watch how to do it. But it doesn't mean you know how to use this one tool or this one saw or what. You know what I mean? Like that's.
So I've made the joke.
Yes and no. I look up stuff to work on my bike all the time.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't mean I can some steps, but I take it with a grain of salt because if you follow it verbatim, it doesn't mean that you still need to know these other things to apply. You know what I mean?
And where I love to make that joke, learn to swim online and then apply it however you will, and it's just a simple stupidity. But where I go with that is everyone in a trade, everyone who has an area of expertise, which I would argue everyone at this table does, you've learned more from a person teaching you and taking time with
and
you
doing
and hands-on experience with you as a one-on-one or however it may have been than any video. Now, a video can show you some great things, but you still then either take those from the video and practice them, or you can just fuck them up and apply them.
Perfect example is yesterday I had people that have been in the industry for a long time. While I was at work, I said, hey, we need to stop this. This is what you're about to do, and you're about to do something really bad, and it's going to have some consequences. And about 4 people go, how'd you catch that? I've done it before. I've had somebody show me this before, and I've seen it happen, and I've seen it caught before. So I knew what to look for. And they were shocked. They're like, we almost screwed that up, didn't we? I was like, yeah.
I bet you yelled at them less than when you got caught doing whatever it was that you screwed up.
No, I didn't yell at all because I caught it. But yes, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
When you originally saw it and did it way back, I'm guessing you got yelled at more than you yelled at them.
Oh, yeah.
You took it as a teaching moment. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Instead of a discipline moment, it was a teaching moment.
Yeah, I've experienced that.
All right, fellas, should we...
10 years ago, it might have been a different response. For sure. Some of that comes with just wisdom and maturity, though. It's not a bad thing. We've gotten a bit more gentle because people are...
Feelings get involved too much.
Careful saying this, but people are a bit more sensitive to some things.
They get in their feels.
Yeah, pretty quickly. And, which...
Oh, yeah. I couldn't imagine being a tattoo artist like the 80s. Yeah. Some of the shit that they had to do, probably the hazing that went with it.
I'm not saying that should continue. Some of it. I did some of that crawling. So my Francisco walk, you know what I mean? I kind of took that on the chin for them, but there's times where I was kind of like, man, suck it up. I had things thrown at me, things broken, I had metal tubes thrown at me and bust holes in the wall. Then I'd have to go spackle and repaint the wall from the thing that was thrown at me, and I came back to work the next day, begging to come back to work the next day.
Welcome to being an apprentice.
Yeah. I'm just like, that's pretty wild.
But
to watch people.
And then after you cut your teeth, you took everything that you had learned.
Yeah.
And you said, fuck it, I'm not going to do it that way. But I'm going to pass the talent along.
Sure.
But I'm not, and the skill, the wisdom, the knowledge that I have, but I'm not going to pass the aggression.
Yeah, bad behavior. Yeah, I mean, continue. I mean, that's not really. I mean, there's two different kinds of pressure. We all know that probably in our respective fields. Is you got the pressure that crushes something, and you got the pressure that turns like coal into a diamond. I opt for the good pressure. That is going to create something great. That's more rewarding for me. Some mentors are like, don't ever want you to rise up to their level or above them, and they want to keep you at a certain spot. And that's pretty common, for people.
I think I would argue that like the for me, if I were mentoring someone in something, I'm not. I probably never will. But if I were, I would argue that the best mentor would be one that would want you to take everything that you had to offer and then apply technology and time to that craft with practice to actually outperform you.
Yeah, and move it into the next.
Because at a certain level, you are going to stop tattooing. And I would argue that your number one apprentice that has grown through everything and done everything, just really busted. That's the person that is your also best branding, your best marketing. And that's the best thing to push you forward.
Oh, yeah, sure. I experienced that.
All right.
Number one.
I know what my number one. This leads into my number one.
Whoever wants it first. I've got mine. I'm ready whenever.
I think it's double-edged, but AI.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
And I'm still chewing on it. And
that's a good.
And the industry's still chewing on it, and I run into it regularly. It is a very interesting thing. I mean, it's interesting to apply that we're applying it to everything right now. Like it's our topic for sure in general, but the way I'm watching it affect tattooers and how some are using it or some are not, how clients are using it, and then it's really that's the biggest leap.
It's a double-edged sword for sure.
They're going to get insane asylum beds, and they're going to strap you down, and they're going to clamp on a CNC tattoo device that puts it in at the perfect depth, perfect width, and traces it so perfectly because it's on.
I think there is a machine that actually does that
I
now.
think they're doing that with graffiti. It just does a whole graffiti piece, and it's just like on the wall, like it's so.
Well, it does that, but there's ones that'll do like little bitty flash, like the size of a quarter right now.
Right.
But the thing, and this is obviously an ongoing thing, and it's not going to be settled today. I just think it's at the number one forefront of what could potentially be wrong with everything is how AI is used in it. So I think it would be weird to not put that as a number one in any field right now in tattooing. But it's still person to person, and I've watched a lot of interviews. I've listened to some insight from some people about it. And
one thing I do like about it is that you don't go to your tattoo artist with some crazy idea that you really don't know what you're talking about. You can use AI to filter through your thought process and bring them a finished product.
Bridge the communication gap,
and bridge that with image.
Yeah, because tattooers aren't mind readers. We're just creative people.
Yeah, but it does take away that creativeness to where somebody comes and says, hey, I like this and I like this. Can you put them together? And normally a tattoo artist would sit down for an hour or two and draw it out for you. And
that's what you're paying for.
Yep.
In a sense. So what happens, like I said, there's double-edged. There's a lot of little factors in there. But then does the client go, well, I'm not paying you to really customize this and put it together.
I already did it.
I did it. AI did it for me, and that's exactly.
Well,
but then that artist still has to put it there. And they're going to be in it somewhere. The artist's influence is going to be in it somewhere.
I think there's a growth aspect to it where you're going to see every side of the coin possible here. And I say that as it rotates, so you get a lot of different angles, right? Number one, you're going to have tattoo artists that use AI to become more efficient for stenciling on bullshit. And right there, good.
Quick, fast,
flash
on demand.
Feed into laziness, which is the part I don't
like. It can.
Right. It can feed into laziness. I think there's going to also be tattoo shops that utilize AI for strictly scheduling, strictly feeding and weeding out where
or your email responses and all kinds of things, your prompts.
I feel like we're getting to a point where there's just walk-ins are going away. All in all, you have to make a digital text-in reservation or something for something everywhere, it seems like. So I'm going to argue that when walk-ins go away, AI could help you filter what do you want to get today? Swastika. Nope, not putting it on your chest. Not going to do it. So I think there's aspects of some of that could help. And I think there's going to be a time changing gap where AI is utilized before AI could overtake, because someone puts a Kickstarter out there of the, hey, I have this machine that you lay on this table, we strap you down, we clamp you, but you can have an absolutely perfect, flawless 4K tattoo
that a person didn't do.
And we can do it in pearlescence. So when you're looking left and looking right at the pool, people get different.
There's always a market for that, but I do feel that if you implement it properly, AI can be used to make a tattoo artist double the money. Because when you walk in and say, I want a 4-leaf clover, all you have to say is Chat GPT, draw me an outline of a 4-leaf clover. You print it out right there. There's your stencil. You're done. You don't have to sit down and draw it. You don't have to look through the flash on the wall. It's there.
But does that remove the essence of a tattoo artist, though?
No, because you still have to sit down.
It's like the bartender not pouring the drink, though.
Okay.
It's like, I want my bartender to pour the drink.
I got a good fight for you.
Well, here's the thing. Hold on. I got to answer this. So I come in and I say, I want a duck fart shot. You have no idea what that is. You use the computer to look it up, get the recipe. You still have to put it together. Fair. And just like a tattoo artist, maybe that outline wasn't done, but usually it's just an outline. And then the tattoo artist has to come in and put their shading and the... Fair.
Okay, the only issue I would then have is probably what he touched on is, do we remove the person into a machine doing it and the technology doing it? That changes things because it's not making a informed choice. Right?
We will get there, and I don't
it's
like
not
that.
Happy accidents. It's doing AI isn't creating new things at this point. What it's doing is regurgitating information.
Let me hand you guys.
It's not making some new shit. It's not happening.
Let me hand you both a balance here. Tattoo artist, people with tattoos. Okay. None of my tattoos are flash art. I don't know if you have any flash pieces on you.
Other than that, no.
Okay. So, flash art sales, flash art this, flash art that. I'm sure you've already got the stencils, but like AI would allow you to say, okay, flash art, instead of just a 4-leaf clover, this is the one 4-leaf clover. I think you could argue that ChatGPT could give you 20 options where the customer could choose.
Sure.
And now you've got the stem to the right because that's where my heart leans, or you've got the 4 leaves that are curling because
you don't have to nitpick it. Absolutely. Right. But well, I guess what I'm talking about is not necessarily that efficiency. I'm not talking about lean management.
So
like over your time. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when I'm in the midst of performing the tattoo, right?
Yeah.
There is something that happens, I would say, most of my career, 70% of the time, that something happened in there organically that made it better, or made some choice in the middle of doing it. Like you can do all that, right? And your AI can tell you these colors, these Pantones, this, that. But when you get into it, everybody's so different and their skin's so different that I get in and like, that blue is not the blue I thought it was going to be. Now I need to, right now in this moment, mix white, and then I might reach over and mix cantaloupe in there, whatever it takes. But I don't know that until it's happening. Like it has to happen in that moment. Like there's no preparation. There's no technology for that. That's the human part. And I'm saying that like something, I mean, that's where we're going to have this weird bridge of like, just like you could, like we shouldn't be threatened by it because it's like, it's just doing what it's doing. Like the best AI can tell you how to do some yoga, right? Or whatever. But you still got to stretch your own muscles, right?
Yeah.
Like nothing's going to stretch them for you. Like you still got to do it. So like there's still going to be something where the artist can do something. I just think when it gets too integrated to where it starts to like pull the wonder out of doing art. But I'm real lofty with my thinking. I'm real fantastic.
No, I agree with you. I fully.
Some artists don't think in abstract forms like I do. Some are very school taught, rigid. I had my old business partner, Mike. He came out of construction, and we taught him how to draw from scratch. He had never drawn a square, but we taught him, and he's a great tattooer. But he doesn't think in abstract form. He just design. He's a good designer, but he only thinks in technical terms. Like he doesn't.
That's the brain he's got, man.
Yeah, that's just the brain he's got. And it works because he applied it. But if you're like, come up with this painting, like he doesn't do it.
So this is,
I struggle with that too.
Yeah.
You drove straight into where I was going with my number one. I want to tie it in, throw my 2 cents at. We'll get to Randy here. People. People's my number one. all across the board, whether it's the person coming in for the tattoo, the guy tattoo.
That was my, number 2 or 3?
People are the problem with everything.
Hey,
Is our human flaw.
I agree they're the number one problem. But I also would argue, and with people comes everything from let's use AI to efficiently maximize and optimize business without taking away from the human factor. And that's what I'm saying, like use AI for the flash piece, but not the fucking custom piece. Like I didn't want AI to draw this up for me. And there's a very real thing where I got this tattoo from someone in your previous shop. And, when we were talking about it, she said, okay, you're going through the ditch. Which one do you want on the ditch? And I said, I want the least pain. She said, it's okay if this one. I said, yeah, I'm good with that. Those things aren't going to be AI based because when you bring AI in,
I mean, there's not enough time.
No.
To do that.
And then the other thing is, like when I say people, I also say people in the sense of you are going to see, I argue it, no doubt about it. You're going to see a new strapped down fucking multiple motorized CNC tattoo machine.
Sure.
But what I would argue is the people that sign up for that are the people that are incapable of anything ever going wrong. They're they're insecure they've got problems already mentally, and they've got to have a perfect
or connection, because there's something to be said for the proximity, right? I spent like 20 years with people inside of my arm space, like my arm length, right? And touching people. Whenever I bring that up, people are really surprised when I say, oh, I just stopped tattooing. They're like, why? And I'm like, dude, I've been touching people every day, all day for like 20 years. I don't want to touch anybody. Like, I don't want to hug. I don't want to, and they don't think about it like that. Then I'm like, I'm sharing my personal space.
Your energy, your life.
Yeah, like, just like, I mean, some other people understand it, like massage therapists and doctors, and people got to touch people all the time. But there's still something pretty magical about that energy exchange that I do miss after 7 or 8 months of not tattooing. It's like, there's something about the energy exchange of, so like, I think you remove that and there's technology, then there's some people that are embrace that because, like you said, they don't want a flaw, or they're so A-type that they want this thing, or they want to experience whatever's ahead of everybody else. But there are people that I swear would come get tattooed by me, not even because the damn tattoo. They'd be like, I don't even know what I want. They just want to come hang out. It's like this thing that's happening.
Well, that's where I was going to finish my people argument was, and this perfectly played in tonight, and I hope you're not ashamed of me sharing this.
Oh, no,
but,
go for it.
You text me, my bike died. I'll be there in a few, and you showed up a few minutes late. No issues, no hard feels, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you also, when you showed up, you're like, I got it fixed up. It was no big deal. We got it started up and going. But you said, I know someone every 15 blocks in this town. I've been here for so long. I've tattooed so many people and all this stuff. And that right there is, I think, one of those things that there are so many people right now with tattoos from people that AI is going to be that new, like, mental illness tattoo machine, rather than like it's where like someone wants the relationship to go do it.
Yeah,
same with your haircut, same with your bartender.
It separated us from used to meet in the, I don't know, whatever park. Freaking hacky sack.
And I mean, I asked
that's just not a thing.
I asked you previously, like, how much have you bartered tattoos for other work, for other things in life? And it's like significant, right? And that is a thing where people come together. And that changes when you just strap an AI machine on the back or whatever. So that's the finish.
I had one of the coolest experiences with my sleeve. I've been working on a long time. I have to travel another state to get it worked on. I showed up with a Japanese kanji. We all did it when we were early 2000s. So I was like, what? Let's do a Japanese theme. And I talked to my tattoo artist, and he goes, okay. I said, but I want you to do something you're interested in, because we're going to be here for a minute. So I want you to be happy with it too, so you can put your energy into it. He goes, okay. He got about 5 colored Sharpies out and drew a grid on my arm. I didn't know what I was getting.
Yeah.
I just let him start. He started drawing a grid, a couple different colors, a couple circles here and a couple circles there. I had no idea until I was about 5 hours into what it was starting to come out as. I mean, that was one of the coolest experiences for me, is because I'm watching it happen and I don't even know what I'm getting.
Yeah. And that's not for everybody.
No, it's not.
But it is a cool experience when
when you trust your,
Sure.
and I've known the guy for a while and stuff, and I just go for it.
Yeah.
Do it in your style, which this is definitely up his alley for his style. A little more graffiti kind of, but still has that Japanese. And just went to town.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's some wonder in there. It's like, you know, it got popular in the last few years. I'm sure you guys saw it where the you get what you get tattoos, the gumball machine thing. And
that one, and I've seen the ones where they have that new show where supposedly like exes give each other a tattoo.
Yeah,
and
you get what you get, you know, and some people really do like that. And they have a great time with that. It's not for everybody. You know, people see their skin real estate a little bit differently than others. Some people get more novelty stuff than others. But yeah, I think, people, that's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, AI does play into
plays into people for sure,
because that's what people are choosing, how they choose to approach information.
because you just went from you just let a computer decide everything to my experience where I walked in and said, here's a blank slate, have fun.
Right.
Well, I mean, Jesse Hopeless. I have a portrait on my right shoulder, and I believe you've seen it before, and you probably haven't seen me topless. You're missing out. But,
I've seen Jesse's work a lot over the years.
And I mean, same here.
Yeah, she's incredible.
And her portrait, I went home day one with the rough. It wasn't done. And
she bloodlined it in and she did some things.
Everyone knew it was my mom before there was a piece of shading on it.
Yeah.
So what I did is I took my 3rd grade handprint that was plaster of Paris, and I had her take that and put my mom's face into that.
Nice.
Pretty cool. And it's like, so it's a real handprint, not like the
same impression.
Yeah, it's not like a perfect outline of my hands, an actual handprint. And day one, everyone knew who that was. The next one was where it got so pretty, it got so good, it was such a good representation of my mom. She was pissed about the tattoo, but she saw that and she was like, God damn, everyone knows who that is. Like, that's me. Like, that's wow. And so I like, even on that, people going back where it's like that generational gap where your parents don't want you to get a tattoo that's visible or whatever. Oh, I didn't get mom with a heart and a banner or whatever.
Well, the art level has changed.
Right.
So like, that's what I was saying way back where number 5 was like, well, there's this thing, some, quote unquote, not quality or trashy. And then you see like something beautifully done. The quality's up there. So you go, oh, well, I don't like tattoos, but that one's pretty. I see it happen.
And that's where I have I do have an honorable mention, and that's cost. What's wrong with tattoos is cost. There's a guy here in Kansas City. I love his artwork. I really want to get it done. But to book a session with him is upwards of about $3,000 for a session.
Okay. I know who you're talking about.
Probably.
Take you a year and a half to get in there.
Probably. About a year.
I know who you're talking about.
Okay. I'm just going to.
Just opened up a new shop.
I have no qualm with an artist charging what they want to charge.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in the tattoo industry. And the reason I say it is when Jessie put this on my back, she didn't put the outline of my mom's face. She did that by hand.
Yeah.
I looked at the outline and she said, do you like the placement? And it was like a blank hand. And I looked back thinking, oh shit, like, am I real? Like, are you going to freehand this?
I'd like to throw this out there though.
But,
and I don't know how much you guys have traveled around the country. I mean, you said you go out of state for your tattoo and things like that.
Yeah, I've worked all over the country.
Can I say this?
Oh yeah,
real quick?
Go for it.
Going back to that artist thing, and this is right at you too. If you told me it was $3,000 to get in, cool. You know what? That's fucking great. And the reason is, if you're gonna put something permanently on your body for the rest of your fucking life, you shouldn't. You should be getting competitive bids, and you should. But
I didn't get I didn't get a finish either. I don't really have a problem with that. You should be able to set your own price, but you also have the people who aren't good, and they are charging out the ass, or they're charging $50 to snipe the people that really can't afford the good art, and they are doing unsafe, crappy jobs and taking advantage of, unfortunately, the less fortunate that don't have quite enough money to go see that $3,000 guy.
This comes down to people.
It does. It is people.
And manipulation. It's not fully about what they're doing is trying to ride off the market of. There was a time where, say, Kansas City had like a kind of a standard. We all had the same minimum at all the shops. Because if it's 50, it's 50 all over the whole city.
Yeah.
And everybody respected it. If it went up to 70,
Everybody went to 70.
70. You know, like now it's not that situation. You might have somebody say, oh, I charge $150 an hour, black and gray, blah, blah, blah. And then another one's like $3,000 a day. Like, period. Now they're smoking in between, they're taking breaks, they're texting, they're tattooing mega slow, not really getting it done. You know, might be
running
6
up that
months
time.
Yes, see you 6 months from now. Like they work on part of it and they're like, see you in 6 months. And you're like,
Yep.
they're going to drag this out for, 3 years when you really could have just got it done, so there's some people finessing the clock with that, but Kansas City is a bit spoiled in the sense that it is one of the most tattooed cities in the country, and you could throw a rock and hit a pretty good tattoo artist in Kansas City. That's not the same everywhere. It's not. Kansas City's like pretty prolific with tattoo. I can name you 10 really good ones in this city that are like, yeah, I'd pay them $2,000 or $3,000 a day. Jesse being one of them, you know what I mean? Or, there's people that are that good,
Yeah.
If you're going to get a fucking portrait of someone on you and you want that to be accurate, you the way that I like to joke about it in construction, you want a building, you can get a building and you can either choose your timeline or you can choose your budget. You get to choose one of those two. If you want a tattoo and you want to take 3 years and it's going to be the cheapest possible, but it is still very, very good, it's going to take 3 years to get that portrait. If you go into a good artist and they're going to do what they do like Jesse did on my shoulder, dude, yeah, you're going to pay.
But here's another thing.
You're going to get it done.
The artist that I brought up, if he didn't charge $3,000, if let's say he charged $1,000, you would be waiting 5 years to get into somebody like that.
Yeah.
Because they're going to book up.
I booked Jessie when I was 17, knowing that she was booked until I was 18.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is we all have this thing behind the curtain with tattooers. There's something you don't want to do. You just charge like 3 times the amount. So if somebody came in and they go, oh, I want this, I don't know, rooster, and you don't really want to do it in this corner, you're like,
$500. If they say good,
then cool, you win. You get the money.
You get the money. And you're still going to do a good piece of work, but
if they say no, you don't got to do it.
Yeah.
You win either way. You're right. So I think that you're right. If those artists shot lower to be nice or generous, which they are giving up their time, because you got to think about it. If you're tattooing people all day, when are you drawing this stuff? You're going to go home and draw it too. Like I did it for years and I didn't have much of a life, because people don't think about that. I'm like, oh, I have to draw all of this stuff. Right. And I got to everybody wants me to be into their thing. You don't realize how hard of an energy suck that is. It's like, I got to switch gears constantly because every single person wants you to be into their thing.
You have to be into a fairy sitting on a mushroom.
It's not like being an engineer where you're like, I'm drawing rebar all day and I'm drawing, it's math and it's numbers and there's that. But if you're like, oh, I want this Japanese dragon, it means this to me. And the next person's like, my grandpa died. I want that. Like, I got to switch gears.
Yeah.
And be able to talk about your grandpa that was a Marine, but then I got to switch over to this dragon and talk about freaking scales in Japan. Then I got to jump over here and talk about every flower that represents somebody in your family in some bouquet, and add some zodiological stuff. It's like, it's a constant, and that's really draining. I mean, I'm not trying to premonize first world problems, but because it's a great job, but I just mean that it's like more taxing than you would think.
No, everybody that I've talked to that are, tattoo artists, barbers, all these people that, that energy that they have to bring every day kind of sucks it out of them a little bit sometimes, because sometimes you get that person that's all energetic and brings you up, and then you get that other person who just mother passed away and
you got to be there. You got to be in that energy too. It's like a constant,
Only place you get success before work is the dictionary, boys.
It's true.
That's true.
All right, let's get some final thoughts in here and get a wrap up, huh?
Yeah. So I enjoyed the list, and there's a lot of problems with tattoos, but I think that the society is really coming around, and my message is be smart what you get and where you put it, especially if you want a career that you could be judged. Wait till you get that career. Wait till you find out if it's acceptable where you're at.
Especially if you're working for other people.
Yeah. Now, if you want to go work for yourself and that's what you want to do the rest of your life, go do it. And I'm not saying if you want to work for somebody else, don't do it. I'm just saying be smart about your decision, especially while you're young.
Yeah.
Because that can affect you the rest of your life.
Final thoughts I've got. I'll pass on the advice that I was given for tattoos. You can comment on it, and then I'm going to ask you another one. But go to a shop that you've done your research on and go to a shop that's open during normal business hours, typically closer to 9 to 5 during the weeks rather than anything else.
Yeah.
If you're getting something permanently attached to your body via under the skin, you should probably be willing to take some PTO and or figure that out with your boss. So that's my advice there.
Care instructions.
Next up for you, Brian, my final thoughts, and this kind of came about in the last, like, honestly, minute that kind of cumulatively came up about this, but with how hard you worked, with how hard you've done this job, with how much you have practiced and put in, and I've seen your work, and it's very, very good.
Thank you.
Is a tattoo artist the most successful artist? Or is it one of the most secure art positions to be in this day and age? I say that because when I ask this, what other artist?
You're talking pen to paper, not music artist or anything else, just pen to paper, ink to.
It's about visual artists.
Yeah, visual
artist.
Visual.
Yeah, and I guess where I say this is, like, I could go even as far as Hollywood, because, like, how many actors actually make it? You know, how many. So where I go with this is tattooing actually a potentially stable art career if you're gonna bust your ass?
I'm gonna comment on it based on visual arts because I do have a opinion and perspective about Hollywood because I lived there for a while.
Fair.
And I don't know if you guys noticed about me, but I tattooed my way through film school.
Nice.
And graduated Pittsburgh Filmmakers in Pennsylvania and moved on to Hollywood for a while. So I kind of saw that life too. So I have a different opinion about that type of artwork and that talent, the actors and comedians and things. So I have a different opinion of that as far as artists concerned and thespians or whatever you want to call them. But I'm going to kind of whittle it down to just visual artists because I feel like I can give you an accurate answer, an appropriate answer. I think that in doing both and coming from a family of visual artists, and me drifting off into tattooing specifically, I think it depends on how you measure success, of course. But if you're talking about success in terms of monetary, yes, because it's the quickest point A to point B. You're paid for your service, and you're still producing new artwork every day, and it's different. And you're still affording a lifestyle that you can produce other artwork outside of it and create a cottage industry around yourself as an artist and a brand. So yes, I think it is probably one of the best art careers you could do, that you could see a prolific growth and economic stability.
Makes sense.
It is not one that gives you a lot of security outside of the day-to-day, meaning there's no retirement 401k. I mean, it doesn't have that corporate structure. You would have to build that. So you'd have to be very tactful with your money, and there's not a lot of tactful tattooers that, because it can also be like hairdresser stripper money where you're making $300-400-500 a day. And we all know this from bartender life and hairdresser life. And I mean, it's still in that same realm where if you're in your younger years and you don't see the long game, then yeah, you're just blowing money in because you're like, oh, I'm just gonna make it tomorrow. I got to plan it. So you really do have to boss yourself. I always tell my son, if you got $300, you actually have $30 that you can spend. And it's just really
makes sense.
You have to money manage yourself unless you get to a place where you got financial advisors and a good accountant, and you've really got some perspective on it, because the day-to-day is kind of flipping burgers. You really have to. It does afford you the space to grow. So I think it's a good life raft job for an artist. It may not be the thing, but it'll life raft you to the thing. So I think I would still say it's got to be in one of those top 5 professions as a visual artist that is going to get you there. Because even when you're doing the labor, you're still drawing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're in practice all the time. That's the thing about being an artist, is you want to be in practice all the time, meaning you want to be doing it, not just selling it. A lot of other things you have to market, sell so hard. But the tattoo, once you do it, it's a walk-in business card. It's just out there.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, it's an icebreaker in a competition.
And people are always willing to tell where they got a tattoo and how and when.
That's why it's got such a widespread boom that we've seen over these years, and why we're even sitting here talking about it, because it's the biggest icebreaker. If you want to talk to a girl and walk up, man, think about before tattoos. what are you going to say? Your hair's pretty, nice boobs. I mean, it's just
You
ridiculous.
smell nice.
Yeah, like, what do you, I mean, oh, cool. We're in a bookstore. What book are you reading? I mean, it's just so like,
Hey, where'd you get that
yeah,
tattoo?
now it's like, oh, cool work. You know, it's like that icebreaker. That
No
makes
more
it,
nice
that
shoes
makes it
on.
easy. You meet the bartender. You're like, oh, where do you go? Like now you got a conversation going.
Yeah.
And it's not just in the dating scenario. I just mean in general. You know, I don't mean to box it into.
That's how I ended up with this tattoo, to be honest with you. I was talking to a bartender, wasn't even interested in her or anything. She's just like, oh yeah, I got this tattoo and this one right next door.
Yeah.
And you can go see. He takes walk-ins. So I'm like,
Yeah.
might as well. I got the rest of the afternoon free.
Right. So I mean, it can just happen that way. So I think that you know, or if you got a freaking band tattoo and somebody's like, oh, I love that band. You know, now you got a conversation going. So I think it's definitely socially been one of the biggest icebreakers of all time. It's got to be.
So what's wrong with tattoos? Final thoughts, Brian.
People.
People's wrong with everything.
No, people.
You win.
Yeah, people might be above AI because people use AI. So people, you know, I mean, we kind of are like notorious for kind of ruining everything. You know?
We are. So how about everybody tell us what they think's wrong with tattoos and
Thank you
tune
for
in
listening.
next week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everybody.
It's 1. Well,